We've all seen the promise, right? This idea that you can just talk to an AI, describe an application you want, and poof, it just appears, fully functional, ready to ship. It's really the ultimate dream of software development. But here's the thing, while that dream is incredibly powerful, the reality, well, it can be a total nightmare. Let's get into why. So, this dream has a name. It's called vibe coding. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that super slick demo you've probably seen a dozen times. You have a quick chat with an AI, it spits out this huge chunk of code that, it looks perfect. And you think, wow, I'm done. It feels incredibly fast. It feels like magic. But there is a massive catch. And this right here, this is the catch. Think about AI coding tools like a digital chainsaw. I mean, in the hands of an expert, they are unbelievably powerful. But using one blindfolded, that's just catastrophically dangerous. And vibe coding? Well, that is the blindfold. It makes you feel super productive while hiding the most important part of the entire process. And in the background, you're building up this mountain of invisible technical debt. Okay, so here's the absolute core of the problem. We're literally throwing away our real source code. When you're vibe coding, the conversation you have with the AI, all the requirements, the design decisions, the why behind everything, that is your actual source code. The code the AI spits out, that's just the compiled output. It's like writing beautiful C++ code, compiling it down to assembly, and then just deleting the C++ forever. You would never, ever do that. So why are we doing it with AI? So how do we stop throwing away our most valuable assets? Well, that's exactly where Codev comes in. It is a methodology built from the ground up for humans and AI agents to work together effectively. And the main idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also revolutionary. Treat all of that natural language context, the specs, the plans, the back and forth, as the durable version source code that it truly is. Because when you capture that context first, you give the AI everything it needs to actually succeed. The main process in Codev is called the SPIDER protocol, and it's just a really systematic way to build things with an AI partner. First, you specify what you're trying to build. Then, you and the AI work together to plan it all out. After that, you jump into this really fast loop for each part. The AI implements the code, you defend it by writing tests to make sure it works and doesn't break anything, and then you both evaluate the results. And finally, you review what happened. This whole structure is designed to preserve that crucial context, which is what makes the whole thing work in the first place. All right, theory's great, but does this structured approach actually make a difference in the real world? Well, to find out, an experiment was run. We took one simple prompt, build a to-do manager app, and gave it to the exact same AI model. The only variable, one attempt used vibe coding, and the other used the structured SPIDER protocol. The results were then graded by 3 other independent AIs, and honestly, they're just staggering. The vibe coding approach got a score of about 12 to 15 out of 100. The SPIDER protocol, a 92 to 95. And just look at that breakdown. 0 functionality, 0 test coverage, 0 production readiness for vibe coding. It wasn't even in the same league. So what do those numbers actually mean? Like, what was built? Well, the vibe coding approach gave back just 3 boilerplate files. It was literally the default Hello World template. Nothing was actually built. The SPIDER approach, on the other hand, it produced 32 source files, a complete application with full CRUD functionality, a database with an ORM, a complete API, and 5 different test suites. It is the difference between an empty cardboard box and a fully assembled production-ready machine. This chart really cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? When it came down to delivering what was actually asked for in the prompt, the vibe approach delivered a big, fat 0. Nothing. The structured, context-driven SPIDER approach delivered 100%. All that context we captured in the specify and plan phases, that's what allowed the AI to execute flawlessly. And here's the final word from one of those AI judges, Gemini Pro. It said it wasn't just about writing lines of code, it was about understanding intent. Because the SPIDER protocol captured what the user actually wanted, the AI could build the application, quote, the way a professional team would. And that right there is the whole game. This experiment points to a much, much bigger idea, a really fundamental shift in how we think about software. It's being called the Great Inversion. For the last 50 years, the code itself was the absolute source of truth. Documentation was always an afterthought, right? Well, now that's completely flipping on its head. Our natural language, our specs, our plans, that's what's driving creation now. The code is just the output.
Just think about what this shift really means for a second. Traditionally, all that important context about a project lived inside a developer's head. In this new AI-native world, that context has to be explicit. It has to be written down, it has to be versioned, because that's what the AI agent needs to do its job. Your specs and your plans, they're not optional anymore. They are the foundation of the entire project.
So what are the big takeaways here? First, please stop vibe coding. It feels fast, I get it, but it's incredibly fragile. Instead, start using a systematic process like SPIDER to structure how you work with AI. And the most important habit to build? Version everything. Your conversations, your specs, your plans, that's the new source code. Start treating it that way. This is what we mean by executable documentation. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. If all the really important stuff, the requirements, the big decisions, the actual intent, is now in your natural language conversations, are you treating that information with the care it deserves? Are you putting your real source code into version control?